What's up, Urban? How's it going?
Hi, Yvgenii. Doing good. How about you?
Doing really good. So, listeners, yeah, you may have noticed that we're jumping right in. That's going to be a thing. So, look at your podcast player to figure out what episode it is, and let's get to the fountain pen stuff. So, we've kind of been ghosting it for a few months, and I will be honest, that's like 99.9% me.
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far, but it's been an interesting few weeks and months, I'd say, for everyone. For you, maybe more than for others, but in general.
Well, okay, burnout's a and it started hitting well before the interesting times that we're all going through. So a lot of it was burnout. There's a lot of work that goes into this stuff, the YouTube channel, the podcasts. When there's no return on investment, except for, hey, you're doing great, you should do this for a living, and then people don't support it, it kind of, that starts to wear on you after a while, and that's where I had gotten. So it's like, I'm working a full-time job, I'm doing all this stuff, and I love doing it, but that's a bad state of mind to be in. So that's my reason for why we were on a break.
Yes, see the show notes for the Patreon link.
Yes, I have one wonderful patron at the moment. Thank you, Urban. That's going to help on some of the back-end costs a little. Thank you.
You're welcome. I mean, you're basically doing all the work and you're paying for it, so it's high time that I at least pay for a bit of it.
Yeah, I still say you don't have to because you're the co-host, but whatever, I can't force you to do something when you live across an entire ocean, so there is that.
Yeah.
I mean, part of it is, and you got to suffer through me complaining about this a lot. It's hard to be a stationary reviewer when all of your money to review things is being funneled into the back end of the review media.
Yeah.
So it's been interesting. But enough about that. Let's go ahead and talk about what we've been up to the last couple months. Yeah, couple of months. Let's start with your stuff, because you've actually inherited a few things, one of which was a Keras decograph that I picked up, I was going to review, and then decided I didn't like it enough to review it.
Yeah, and now it's mine. Luckily, and a nice bottle of ink as well. Plus, you should tell the story how... I mean, do you still have the picture of the nib that you destroyed from that pen?
I'm sure I can pull it from... Yeah, I can pull it from our Slack. I can definitely pull it from there.
Because that was amazing with the two tines basically bent backwards 180 degrees.
I still have no idea how the pen didn't snap under the weight of my foot when that happened. Like, seriously, the fact that only the tines were messed up is a miracle.
I mean, I really like it. It's maybe not my favorite color, but that's the only thing I can complain about it. I mean, the hardware is black, which is nice, and it's a great nib. I guess you tuned it, right?
I'll totally ignore that you said that that's it's a good nib. As far as Bach nibs go, that Bach nib is a good nib, but that one came from Andrew Bailey. That was from his personal stash, so I don't know if he tuned it or not. I didn't touch it.
Yeah, Bach nibs are sometimes not the most reliable. Yeah, I mean, it's a great pen. It's been inked since I got it, even though it's only the second filling, but yeah, it's nice. And the ink is also pretty great. So Tasha Uguisu, which is a great green.
Okay, as far as greens go, for that particular shade of green, I will definitely agree. I'm trying to think. Let me look at your picture really quick. And oh, you don't have any pictures of an actual writing sample with the ink.
No, I mean, basically took. I mean, that's a bit of an older picture. All the rest of the pictures I took yesterday and hastily uploaded them all to Instagram to have them for the show notes. So they're all very quick shots.
Are you finding the color to be close to the way it came out in the review that I did?
I don't remember. I have a a different ink in it now.
Fair enough. I think that works.
But I mean, it's a crap shot anyway, right? You do all you can on your end, and then who knows how my monitor is calibrated, and you can basically almost give up again, right?
That monitor of yours, if it has any calibration problems, I would be severely disappointed.
I don't know. I never really checked, unlike someone.
Okay, just because I spent the better part of 3 hours calibrating monitors and posting pictures to you guys to get your opinions on them means I have a severe problem.
Okay, I mean, your case with comparing two monitors is maybe valid, yeah, because there it doesn't depend too much on the other monitor being properly calibrated. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it helps to have them both calibrated for the sake of making sure that if I'm showing you an ink, it doesn't come off too blue or too red. But like you said, everyone's areas are different. Like my entire apartment is 5,500 Kelvin, 1,000 lumen light bulbs.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty much I try to mimic the sunlight in my house at all times. And I think that also helps make sure that I don't have visitors, because they walk in, I turn on the lights, and they immediately go blind and want to leave.
Good strategy.
It works. It definitely works. Yeah. What do you think of that yellow TWSBI Eco?
That's a nice color. I mean, I always wanted the orange one, but I didn't want to spend the money to have it, I don't know, have someone buy it in Japan and have it shipped here. I think the yellow one is a nice second place to that. It's not a super bright orange, so not a neon color. I don't know, someone compared it to a banana. I guess that's sort of okay.
It's a banana. Like, if you've ever had that, there's a candy company called, I think it's Runts. Yeah, I think there's a candy called Runts, and they've got these little candy bananas, and I can taste that right now looking at this pen.
Yeah, and of course it's filled with another green ink. That's my first winter ink, so Winter Latte, which is kind of a slightly olive green, but not too dark, but darker than Alt Goldgrün, I'd say. Yeah, something like that.
Interesting. So, sea kelp. Huh.
I don't know, they have very weird long names where it's always two things and always one with a date. I don't know. There's a system behind it. I haven't really looked into it.
Well, sea kelp would make sense if the name is Liete, because Liete Golf from World War II, that would make sense with sea kelp, especially if it's the right color green.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Have I done any good greens lately? I did Krishna water green, but I think my whole complaint about that was that it's more of a blue.
That is true, yeah.
Actually, I need to dump that ink after we're done recording.
What about Green at Night, the Rubber Duster one?
Yeah, that one is actually green. If you took the oil spill from the Exxon and Valdez, and you took a pine forest and you put them all in a giant blender and then blended it over and over and over again until you got this nice, thick, dark green black color, then you've got Robert Oster Green at Night.
Maybe that's what he did.
Maybe. I think he had to have summoned that ink from the pits of somewhere, because it is just dark, but it's beautiful. I mean, I think in the video I actually said that it reminds me of more of the deeper parts of the pine needles that I see in some of the pine trees in Arizona when I go on vacation. And that's true. That color of green, that nice, deep, dark, piercing green, the type of green that feels like it's staring into your soul, I like that.
I mean, dark greens are also nice. One of my favorites is Diamine Green Black, which is super dark. I mean, in a wet pen, it is basically black, but it is a greening after all. I
haven't gotten that one yet. It'll probably happen at some point. I mean, there's a couple thousand inks, and I do have a YouTube channel called The Inktwell, so...
Yeah. I mean, at least in FPC, there's like 4,800 inks, different inks. So you have a while.
Oh, fun. How many of these are like not expensive, so I can start with those?
I mean, basically any diamine ink you can get, or many of them you can get in 30 ml bottles, which are like, I don't know what they are in the US, but here it's like €4.
I think close to like $8. Don't quote me on that. It's like 8 or 10.
Yeah.
That was the one fatal flaw to starting a series called Budget Inks. I realized exactly how many there are.
This is true, yeah.
And if I started doing those full time, I would never come out of doing those.
That is true. I mean, Diamine has like so many, and that's just one company, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's like I want to go ahead and pick up a couple of the Van Diemen inks. Just, some stuff I haven't actually tried before.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just so much in the way of budget stuff that I still have to touch that I have to pull myself away to do that. I'm also wondering whether or not I should give Stipula inks another try.
I've never tried those, so I can't really tell you.
Well, the problem with the Stipula inks that I've come across, at least, is they come in these huge 70 ml containers.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't go through all 70 ml, so I opened the bottle of Stipula Turquoise about a year and a half ago and used it. And I just never got around to reviewing it. I went to go open it last week, and I have no clue what was growing inside of it, but it scared me.
Okay, yeah, maybe that's not a good sign, yeah.
Yeah, considering the bottle of Robert Oster Soda Pop Blue that was bought at the same time and opened at the same time and also has had as long as of a shelf life is actually still sitting on my shelf, perfectly usable.
So you either don't review them or you have to buy a second one and leave it for, I don't know, another year.
Right. I mean, it's like, okay, I buy 70 ml of ink, I do a review on it, and then because I know what's going to happen to it, I immediately give it to someone else? Or do I do another ink splat intro for the videos and just use that as one of the main colors?
Or that, yeah. Or integrate more of those. Do you know the YouTube channel Inky Rocks?
I do not.
It's a woman from Japan who is doing also pen and ink reviews, and there's always a lot of, basically in every video she sacrifices bottles of ink by, I don't know, throwing them around, pouring them into water and stuff like that. It's kind of fun to watch.
Wow. Well, now I definitely can't do that, because then I would be encroaching on someone else's idea. Although that does sound pretty cool.
It does. And she's of course doing it with these hard to get store exclusive inks that you only can get in Japan.
As I look over at my bottle of Athena Eternal Blue and mispronounce it like no other. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
See, this is also what happens when you take a few months off. You forget how to actually speak.
Yeah, because you don't really need to speak for your job, right?
Well, I do and I don't, but I say the same things over and over and over again at my job, so it's kind of routine.
Mm-hmm.
You don't really say Athena Eternal Blue too many times when you work in the industry I work in.
That's true, yeah.
Or Robert Oster, which I just mispronounced it again. Even stuff like Atelier Lusso, I actually got that right. Holy It's a miracle. That makes me very happy. I know there was a direction to that.
Probably. We were talking about pens and ink.
Oh, yeah. That is what we were doing. Yes. I think we were talking about a Twisby, talked about Aventa ink, and then I completely got us off on a tangent.
About Stipula inks, yes.
Yes. Damn you, Stipula. You've done it again. But yeah, I touched some different paper other than Endless Works.
Yeah.
I found bank paper that I like.
Okay, good.
Yeah, the Musubi Folio bank paper is actually really good.
And especially at this time, it would of course be nice to support Musubi, because they also had to shut down due to the virus, and they're basically just working off of whatever they still have. I think Daryl has the whole folio notebooks at his house, and he's basically packaging them all, but they are currently not producing anything. So if you have the money to spare at this point, it would be kind of nice.
Definitely when it comes to anything Musubi, that is... I agree with that sentiment. I really do. But yeah, the bank paper in those folio notebooks. Also, Andrew gave me a spare folio with Tomoe River.
Mm-hmm. How do you like that?
It's going to be a good replacement for the Endless Works notebook once that one runs out for reviews.
I'm using that as my journal. I might be, I don't know, a third through one of the two that I got.
I figure the bank paper one will be the new notebook. Once I finish that Endless Works one, and then the Tomoe River one will be for the YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
I still have like 7 or 8 pages to go in the Endless Works one before that transition happens, though. So I think I'll be set on paper for a while.
Yeah.
Also, I destroyed a pocket notebook, something fierce, for review.
Yeah, the elemental paper one, right?
Yeah. That's probably the first and only time I'm ever going to drown a notebook on purpose, on camera. I've drowned like 7 or 8 notebooks on accident, not on camera. I will say, for a pocket notebook with Tomoe River, it held up really well. So if there are any left in stock and you are looking for a pocket notebook with TR, consider picking that one up. The price is actually pretty good on it for a 3-pack.
I mean, I have a Pebble Stationery pocket notebook with Tomoe River, and I mean, it sounds great, but actually a pocket notebook, at least for me, is something you want to write something in and then directly close it. And that just doesn't work with Tomoe River. For that use case, I would actually use something else.
The way I use pocket notebooks, I just consider the back of the previous page as blotter paper.
No.
Because I only write on one side of the paper anyways, so for me it's okay, because it's just like, write what I need, blotter paper. But if you do want to use both sides of the paper, then no, don't get it. Or if you use pencil, get it.
Yeah, that's true. Pencil worked surprisingly well, actually, on Tomoe River, if it's not too hard of a pencil, yeah.
It really does. What about you? Are you experimenting with any paper?
Actually, I am. I have a lot of time on my hands right now because I'm not working as much. So I am catching up on my letter writing. I prefer a 4mm very faint dot grid with a nice border to write letters on, and that's basically not available anywhere, right? So I have to print that on my own. So I'm currently exploring all the various printer papers that are out there. So the current one I have is Clairefontaine Clair Mail. So that's a 60 GSM paper, which is kind of nice. Yeah, it's a bit thin if you want to write on both sides. So I'm looking into other papers that are out there. And I guess that will last me a while, because those printer papers you always get in 500 sheets or something.
That would require me to get a printer?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting having to drive down to my friend's house 35 miles away to go print out a shipping label to mail a pen to Phil.
Yeah, I have this, what is it? Some kind of Epson work printer, whatever thing, a huge box, but it's been reliable and it can print on both sides. So I basically stick in A4 sheets and print 2 on both sides, and then I cut it in the middle and have A5 paper for letter writing. And now I'm experimenting with making my own glue-bound notepads out of it, because I found that it's much nicer to write on a stack of pages, actually.
That is one area where you and I differ. I like the writing experience of a nice, hard, textured desk underneath the page when I'm writing letters.
Mm-hmm.
Although I think I can get away with it because I'm normally using really fat nibs.
Yeah, I mean, if I use abroad, then okay. But with a fine or something, then it's not so nice anymore.
I will say, I have no clue how you are able to use just printer paper, especially like with, in my experience, every ink I ever put on printer paper tends to feather in some way that I find very unappealing.
Well, this is Clairefontaine paper, so nothing is feathering on that or bleeding through, even though it's just 60 GSM. So somewhere in between the two Tomoe River weights.
Is that what you normally used to write letters to me with?
Probably not. I use a lot of Tomoe River still and bank paper, and I've also experimented with tracing paper, which is this super thin paper that you can basically write only on one page, one side, because it's see-through, plus on one side it works and on the other side it just feathers like crazy. So I don't know what I wrote to you last.
Well,
I don't know.
Next time you send a letter, use some of the Clairefontaine. I want to take a look at it.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, the letter is in the mail. You'll have to reply first.
Man, that means I'm actually going to have to write a letter.
Yeah, I can, of course, then also include paper samples if I remember.
I'll be sure to go ahead and write you a reminder in the letter.
Sounds good.
That way it gets to you at the right time, and you're reminded of it at the right time instead of me completely forgetting.
Yeah, that sounds perfect.
Speaking of other pens to give you, do you want this Amazon Basics fountain pen?
Oh, no. Even I don't want that.
It's interesting. As far as cheap pens go, it's not bad, but just the fact that it says Basics on it makes me feel sorry for the thing.
I mean, it's also super boring, right? From the design.
Oh my goodness, that pen is so boring. And the ink is not fountain pen ink. It really just feels like somebody took a whole bunch of like Bic rollerballs, drained the ink out of the small sleeve, and then put it in a fountain pen cartridge.
Yeah, you never know. Maybe those cartridges sat unused for a few years, and then some of the water evaporated.
Well, I don't know if Amazon actually had fountain pen ink before they came out with that pen.
Yeah, but they didn't make it themselves, right? This is made somewhere in China.
It's made somewhere in China, yes, but it couldn't have sat around for years because the part that says Amazon on the cartridge is actually stamped. So that would have had to have happened a little bit more recently, or Jeff Bezos had this in the works a lot longer than we thought. Which, if this is a Bezos idea, can you come up with something better next time, Jeff? Like, seriously. Something with a little bit more flair, maybe a blue-black ink instead of just a boring black ink. And something that doesn't say Basics on it. Like, literally, you could have put the smile on it, and it would have been awesome.
That is true, yeah. I mean, that certainly is the worst part of it, yeah.
So, I can't interest you in that one?
No, I have enough cheap Chinese pens that are better looking, actually.
Man, how many plays did Figboot get on that one? Let me see. YouTube.
I mean, Mike also did one, right?
Yeah, Mike was the third one to get a review in. So it was some random guy that reviews a lot of Amazon stuff. Then Figboot. And then I was like the fourth to get a review in there. Let's see, Figboot. Good, I'm subscribed so I don't get ambushed by a welcome to my channel video. Okay, how long ago was this?
You know that there's a search.
Oh my goodness, he's gotten 61,000 views on that. Wow, 61,000 views for that pen.
Mm-hmm.
Good job, Figboot.
61,000 views that people will never get back, yeah.
Wow, and that's an 11-minute video. If his view duration chart looks kind of like mine, that means his average view duration for that was actually 6.5 minutes. So that's 360,000 minutes spent watching an Amazon fountain pen. That's nuts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Mike did get 3,400 views.
Now because I'm super curious, I got 494, which honestly is kind of on par right now. I mean, there are a few, like, people apparently like Pelican 4001 Royal Blue. That one has like 2,200 views, which for how small my channel still is actually pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Not as good as Waterman Serenity Blue, which is almost at 3,000. Let's quit looking at numbers. That's getting weird. Tell me about this Parker Jotter.
Yes, so the Parker Jotter and the Llama Studio, those were freebies from someone in a different Slack. Yeah, I mean the Parker Jotter it's a fine pen. I think this section is thinner than a pencil, so it wouldn't be something for you. But I like it. It has a nice medium nib and it writes fine. Nothing to complain about for a free pen. So maybe I'll get a new one at some point. The plastic ones are like 10 euros or so.
So when you say thinner than a pencil, so we're talking like even thinner than a Pro Gear Slim?
No, I don't own a Pro Gear Slim.
What about a 1911? You've owned a couple of those, right?
I only have one 1911 large that I didn't have to buy because it was a gift. But it's easily the thinnest section of any pen I have.
Okay, in comparison to the Decograph, because we've both held that pen, how much thinner than that?
I don't know. Take away a third, maybe.
Okay, yeah, that's too thin.
It is super thin. It's a pen you use if you want to take a quick note somewhere and then not for.
I can forgive a thin pen if it has a section that has enough of a concave taper to it. Like the Pelican M600 that I've got, it's kind of a thin pen compared to the others that I've got. But the section has that perfect taper and that nice lip at the end of it to where my hand doesn't slide off the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does have a bit of a lip, and it's further towards the nib. I mean, in the Decograph, it's kind of a long. The thinnest part is kind of quite far back, I'd say, and that's not the case with this one. It's pretty much at the end.
Yeah, the Decograph, I actually liked the way the section is. That's one thing that Keras does right. The shape of the pens, especially the way that Dan had designed them, the shape of the pens is really well done. It's just the choice to go with a Bach nib is something that I've just never been able to get used to because every Keras pen that I've had has been a dud right out of the box.
Okay.
But if the Jotter has that kind of section on it, looking at the picture, yeah, I may pick one up just to take a look at it.
Mm-hmm.
It has a very interesting look to it.
Yeah, and I think the newer ones also look a bit nicer than what I have, which is the old model.
I think the old model would actually get a little, I don't know. Which do you think would get more views, the old model or the new model?
I don't know. Reviewing something you can't buy is probably not the best idea.
Yeah, that is true. Although, I don't know, the Pilot 743 video has done really well. And picking one of those up can be really difficult sometimes.
Yeah, but that's a cool, expensive pen and not a cheap Parker.
Fair enough. But, I don't know. Honestly, I think I would like that section more than I did the Pro Gear that I just sold to Phil.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was, you need to start doing interventions whenever I say I'm looking at a Pro Gear. I love the colorways. I really do. But unless it's a Rialo, I cannot use the sections. I just can't.
Even with the bigger ones?
Even with the bigger ones, the Pro Gear Slim, the Pro Gear, the 1911, the 1911 Large, the sections just don't feel right. Yet the section on the Rialo and someone's probably going to tell me it's the same section on the Pro Gear, but the section on the Rialo feels different. Yeah, this is now, let's see, we had the Graphite Lighthouse, we had the Angel's Delight, the Ocean, whatever it was. I had a black chrome, black rhodium, black gold, yellow. I've had like 7 or 8 sailors, and the only one I liked was the Rialo.
Yeah, maybe it's the weight is a bit different with all the with the piston mechanism in there. Maybe that's also different.
That it's helping offset the section. Maybe that's why I like the Pelicans.
Maybe.
Which, yeah, there's a person in one of my Slacks that we have a interesting dichotomy when it comes to his hate relationship with Pelicans and my love relationship with Pelicans. It's always fun for that conversation. It seems like we have very differing views on the exact same brands. It's kind of funny sometimes. You know, we've got quite a bit left on like what I've done video-wise and some of the new stuff you have, but
yeah,
let's go ahead and save that for next episode.
Yes, let's do that.
It looks like you've been doing some stuff over on FPC.
Yes. So, like I said, I have more time, so I'm currently only working 4 hours a day. Luckily, here in Germany, I get more money than just 50% of my salary. But I still have a lot of time, so I spent some of that on FPC. Some smaller features like a private comment field on inks that you've made public that only you can see, and then bit bigger. I revamped the inks page, so you can now sort them and search, and it should work much better on mobile. But the biggest thing I did was actually working on the clustering of the inks. So there's like, I don't know, 61,000 entries that people have added. But obviously there aren't 61,000 different inks. So I had to implement some stuff to group them together to see which entries are the same, so that you can transfer the colors and maybe eventually do some fun community features. Yeah, the old version wasn't really good, and I basically rebuilt that whole thing and was able to reduce the number by, I don't know, 1,200 inks. So before that, the system thought there's like 6,100 inks that are so distinct inks in the system, and now it's like 4,800.
I mean, that's a pretty good trim.
Yes, and most of it was actually there was a lot of manual work. So there was this automated step in the beginning that sort of reduced the number of inks from 61,000 to about 13,000. So there was some pre-grouping happening where I was pretty sure that it was correct. And then I went through all those 13,691 clusters by hand and decided, is that a new ink or is it the same as one that's already in the system? So I spent some weeks, I guess, on that. Both building it and then going through the list and building the actual final list of inks.
That is... okay, so for some people, that would be considered to be a lot of work.
Yes, it was.
Oh, okay, so you actually considered it to be a lot of work, okay.
Yeah, I mean, at least half the time I spent building a system to make it easier and faster for me to do. That part was fun, but then doing the actual work wasn't that much fun.
I can respect that. I can actually respect that feeling. Wow, so you've definitely been busy there.
Yeah, and now that I'm reasonably sure that my list of inks is actually correct, I'm planning to build some features on top of that, where basically you can get a public page for each ink that lists all the names that people have entered it as in the system, and then maybe you can, I don't know, have people add information to those pages, like links to reviews and stuff like this, so to work a bit more on the community side of the project in the future.
So when I come out with 300 different turquoise inks on my own private ink collection, will be good. It'll only see the 300 inks that I've created, not the 6,000.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, all those private things that you mix yourself, those I'll just ignore.
Oh, okay.
I mean, there's stuff like unknown as the brand name and blue as the color name. Obviously, stuff like that I'll have to ignore. Or inks that just don't make sense because it's the brand name and then the line name. It's like if someone enters Pilot and Iroshizuku as the ink, and there's nothing I can do with information like that. So there's a certain number of entries I just have to ignore because they don't make sense.
It's like Pelican and then 4001, or Pelican and then Edelstein.
Yes, I think Pelican 4001 that actually exists, yeah. Or Pelican Blue. What's Pelican Blue? I can guess, but it might be wrong.
Right. Is it topaz? Is it turquoise? Is it 4001 turquoise? Is it blue, royal blue, blue black?
Yeah. I mean,
Blau?
I mean, there's some things where people mix up the brand names. That's oftentimes, I can fix those because the ink names are generally unique, but they're just cases where it's impossible.
Wow. Okay, before I get lost in just visualizing programming in my head, let's do some listener questions.
Mm-hmm, sure.
So first one is from Alan Schutko. What is the biggest gap in the stationery market you'd like to see someone fill?
So what I would like is a B5 notebook with good fountain pen friendly paper. I like the size. I've had a Leuchtturm softcover one, but the paper it's okay, but it is not so much fun to write in. But like I said, I like the format, and one with better paper would be great.
What size is B5 again?
Somewhere between A5 and A4, so a bit bigger than A5.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's actually a pretty good size. Somebody needs to get on that.
Yeah, so roughly a composition notebook size-wise, I'd say. Maybe a bit taller.
So, gaps in the stationery market that I would like to see somebody fill. I mean, if I wanted to just be spiteful and go with the first thing that popped into my head.
Yes, please.
Okay. Somebody that makes pens that look as crazy as Visconti and Pineider pens, but at realistic prices with nibs that actually work out of the box.
I'm sure someone in China will do that for you.
I mean, I love those designs. I really do. A lot of the Pineider designs are actually really cool. Same thing with some of the Visconti designs. But the pricing, I think, is blown way out of proportion for what they are. And honestly, the nibs just, I don't know, they don't do it for me.
Mm-hmm.
Lower the price by about 40%, and I think you've got the pricing just right for a Visconti. 60% for a Pineider.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't really comment. I haven't tried either yet. I don't know if I ever will.
Although I don't know if that would actually count as a gap in the stationery market. So a real answer to Alan's question would be, I would like to see a bag manufacturer make the perfect hybrid for a photographer stationary person. So something that can hold a good-sized mirrorless camera body, at least 4 lenses, 5 notebooks, and a laptop. Not a Mac, but a full-size 17-inch laptop.
I'm sure you can find someone who can make a custom bag for you.
And a pouch for a pen roll.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, right now I've got a bag from Ape Case that's doing pretty good, but it still feels like it's missing stuff, because obviously it's a camera bag, it's not a camera/stationery bag, and I think there's a pretty good crossover between people that like pens and people that like to take pictures.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
So there's my crazy answer and my real answer.
Okay.
Marcus actually had 2 questions. We kind of answered one. Where have we been this whole time?
At home.
Yes, we were at home. I've been working 70-hour weeks.
And I've been making up for it by working less.
And I've also just been going through stuff. Yeah, so that's answer number one. Thing number two, I would be interested in a roundup of notebooks, pocket or hardback, that are fountain pen friendly. I am not a notebook expert per se. My recommendation would be definitely check out the YouTube channel for Ink Dependence and Fig Boot on Pens. They do a wide variety of paper reviews from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
And because of how much they get to be involved in the stationery world, especially living on the East Coast for both of them, it does give them quite a bit of insight to a lot of the paper, both, pocket, hardback, not hardback, whatever the case may be. So I would start there.
Yeah. And I mean, Marcus, you started designing your own notebooks. So I think you know a lot about paper and notebooks anyway. Yeah. I mean, pocket notebooks, I mean, it's a hard question anyway, right? Because what do you want out of the notebook, right? You either want Tomoe River and the ink should look really cool, or you want something that maybe dries quicker because you're on the go and you don't want to use your backside of the page as blotter paper. It's kind of hard to give recommendations anyway, but I'm pretty sure you know most companies out there anyway. Something I wanted to try that maybe so Marcus is in Germany as well. Maybe he has tried as well himself is the Gmund notebooks. So they are made in Bavaria. They're a bit on the pricey side, but apparently they're pretty good. They have pretty good paper, at least some of them.
Intriguing.
It's all in German. I can give you a link, but it's all in German.
Google can help.
Yeah, I mean, Daryl from Musubi here, he actually told me about them. Sort of from the other side of the world. He told me about a company that's like an hour from where I live. And yeah, eventually I'll try them. But I mean, I have so much paper here anyway, so I don't know if I'll ever get around to it.
Yeah, that's the one reason I don't do too many paper reviews. I don't want the paper just sitting around doing nothing the whole time.
Yep.
And I feel that's exactly what it would do. People would walk into where I do the YouTube stuff, and they'd be like, "Oh my goodness, you've got a lot of books around here. You must be smart." No, it's all blank pages. Like, the first 5 pages have something written on them. That way I could film it, but everything else is blank.
Yeah, I've started to actually, depending on, so I have a few notebooks going. And sometimes I use them for 2 purposes. So I start on the one end of the notebook, for example, I take notes for when I work on FPC. And starting from the other end of the notebook, I keep a log of when I received letters and when I wrote replies. So then I'll be done faster with that notebook.
That actually makes quite a bit of sense.
I mean, there's all kinds of weird things you can do. There's people that basically write on one side and then turn over the notebook and then write on the back.
Yeah, I've heard of those people. I don't understand it.
I mean, it sounds fun. Maybe I'll give that a try at some point.
Before we hit our last question, I want to do something just to see if people are listening. I threw away my planner.
Which one? The Yvgenii?
Yeah, I literally just tossed it in the garbage like sometime in February.
I mean,
yeah,
we do. I mean, the podcast is named like that for a reason, right?
Yeah, I can't do it. I literally just said fuck this and tossed it in the trash can. So, last question. Do you happen to know if Pelican still makes 4001 in pink? I have some old cartridges but can't find them anymore in shops and would love to get that color bottled. That was by Stickers Swiss Made. Okay, I've got some Pelican 4001 pink. Thank you, Urban.
You're welcome.
Apparently, I don't know how old these cartridges are, but they're still in cartridge form. And I agree. I would prefer to have this bottled instead of Brilliant Red. Brilliant Red can go die. I hate that ink. It's just atrocious. It's horrible. And it stains converters. Pink is actually a good one.
It's weird. So Pelican 4001 Pink is in production, but only in cartridge form. The same thing is for Waterman, what's it called? Radiant Pink. You can also only get that for in cartridge form. So Anna from the other podcast, so from FPC, she mentioned that pink is, at least the Waterman Pink is used by pupils a lot in French schools. So maybe that's why. I mean, if you want a pink in a bottle that's cheap, then you can go for the Faber-Castell pink. That's pretty new ink, but that you can get in cartridge and in bottle form.
Yeah. Thanks to you, I will be actually. I've got enough time before Dungeons and Dragons starts this afternoon. I'll probably get the filming done for the 4001 Pink video.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe the 4001 Blue Black. I was actually able to find a bottle in stock in the United States.
Oh, cool.
Mm-hmm. So then I will have truly done the 4001 bottles.
All of them. I think that there used to be something called Brilliant Green. That was before they switched over to this dark green. But that's hard to get, I think.
Yeah. So we're just going to call dark green the only green that exists in 4001 bottled form.
I mean, it's true today.
It is true today. And we only care about today, because planners.
Yes.
Anyways, that's going to do it for this episode. Another thing we're also doing with the show is we're stepping it back to a monthly podcast for a bit. So we'll see you guys again in May.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, if you have any questions, email those to ask2gop@gmail.com or comment on our Instagram. Link is in the show notes.
Yes, and if you want to support us, you can go to the links Patreon. So patreon.com/Yvgenii.
I much appreciated for that. Thank you. Till next time, we'll see you later.
Bye.